This is the Whatever You Say
podcast.
This is the Whatever You Say podcast.
Kanye.
Okay.
Well, Kanye, the Jewish thing, the he wants to go DEF-CON on everybody, but he wants to bank it on religion. He wants to go and still have Sunday service every however often he has it. Is he just another dirty preacher?
So
Is he just another of these preachers that we say watch out for?
I will say this: I think Kanye has mental issues and he needs help, right? And I think that I don't think that any group of people should be beyond criticism, right? And so I feel like if we live in a world, okay, so for instance, if I say that Israel is murdering people in the street, they bomb innocent men and women and children all the time. The United States is backing a state that murders people. I can get called anti-Semitic because of that. But my views, my criticism isn't about Jewish people. It's about the state of Israel and their destruction of Palestinian homes and lives, right? I think that's valid. I think you should be able to criticize a place. And I think that anyone who says, oh, you're anti-Semitic because you criticize a government is wrong, right? But anytime you label a group of people as a monolith, that is also wrong as well. And I think that's what Kanye has done. But Dave Chappelle said something very potent to me. When he said it, he said, if they're Italian, it's a mob. If they're black, it's a gang. If they're Jewish, it's just a coincidence and you should never talk about it.
Right. And that's my thing with Kanye is that you've been in the rap game and the fashion game and all this for a very, very long time. You mean you're just now realizing this? I'm a hip hop fan. Grew up listening to Ice Cube, Public Enemy. That's where I got my first Jews have all the money. Watch it. Yeah, that's where I got my first lessons from.
Right.
You go back, I know Ice Cube wanted to disassociate himself from Kanye, but come on, Cube. I was listening to that stuff.
Jerry Heller.
Yeah, come on, man.
Yeah,
the white Jew telling you what to do. I mean, come on now. And Chuck D, Public Enemy, come on now. They got albums full of it. And then I thought it was it's kind of a running joke. I went to a white school my last 2 years of high school up in Kansas City. You know what white kids, you know what they do when they shut up. Oh, shut up. You know, black kids, oh, shut up, nigga, get out of here. You know what white kids do?
What?
Oh, Jew. Fuck you, Jew.
Yeah.
That's a go-to kind of diss, kind of get out of here kind of tag that they use. So when you tell me Kanye, somebody that's been at the top of the game in music and fashion for 20 years, and you're just now shocked that this group of people, which let's be honest, white people, have a lot of power in music and movie and fashion, and you're shocked, you're appalled by it, sounds like a nigga who just didn't read his contract.
Well, and you know, another thing is like, I think if you take out Jewish and put in white, because these are white people who are Jewish, right? If you take that out, are people mad at Kanye still? Because the reason people are mad is because there were 6 million Jewish people who were killed in the Holocaust during World War II. Okay, and Jewish white people have a distinction amongst other groups of white people is that they are hated by white hate groups, right?
True.
Now here's the thing: a Jewish white man can change his name and just be white. I can change my name, but I can't change my skin. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to play the comparison game because I think that's ugly. I think oppressed people should and marginalized people should stick together. I think Kanye's mistake is that are there a lot of powerful Jewish people in Hollywood and the music industry? Yes. But I think that instead of coming at the Jews, I think his approach should have been uplifting black people. Like, instead of being like, oh, these Jews got all the power, I think Kanye, Mr. Billionaire, should use his billions to put more black people in power.
Because that's the part that we're forgetting, man. I mean, Kanye's not out there by himself. There's a Kanye, there's a Oprah, there's a Jay-Z, there's a Puffy. Like, we're getting
Jordan.
There's a Jordan, exactly. It's been a Jordan for a long time.
Whatever you
LeBron
say.
now. I mean, we're getting up there. Have you seen these contracts of these guys that they can sit out and not even have to play for?
Right.
We're getting enough names,
Mhm.
right? That have enough notoriety, have enough fame to where I think true, real movements and change can happen. Listen, LeBron did this whole school thing while he's still playing. So what do you mean someone who's retired for 10, 20 years can't do it? I don't understand why that isn't in the minds of our super rich and our celebrities and our influential folks out here.
But he's dodging accountability, man. You're blaming Jewish people when you could be uplifting black people, like I said before. And we as black people have to stop dodging accountability.
Yeah.
It's on us to lift each other up. The grass is greener where you water it at. If you're worried about the Jewish grass, the black grass is gonna die.
Mm.
And that's Kanye's problem.
Word.
I'm not gonna co-sign any hate on any other people. I will always preach black love, power, and positivity. If Kanye was on his meds, or if he had somebody in his ear telling him that, we would be powerful. We would be greater. And Dr. Umar been saying this. Dr. Umar been calling out these black billionaires for years now. Where are they at? Where are y'all at? We all mad at Kanye, but where are y'all? We black people need to lift each other up to become. And I'm not trying to say like become as powerful as the Jews or whatever, but like without black people, there is no sports or entertainment industry. Let's be honest, right?
None.
So the people who own that industry are the people who Kanye is talking about, and these are the white Jews.
Mhm.
But at a certain point in time, when are we going to leverage our own skills and money and create something of our own?
There's enough of us, man.
So we don't have to complain.
Imagine if Corey Akers had $1 billion. Come on, man. Are you kidding me?
Listen, I'll say this. If I did, I guarantee you, we wouldn't be, Flint's water would be clean.
Right.
You know what I'm
Come
saying?
on, man. Mississippi. Come
Yeah.
on now. Dion had to go take the kids and put them up in the room.
Right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That would be fixed.
And that's been going on for years.
Right. These are problems that we're worried about, and we're not doing with it. And honestly, I will say this. The people that Kanye are talking about have real money. They have liquid cash. They got billions in cash.
For a long time.
Long generational wealth.
Yes.
Diddy, Jay-Z, they barely touching $1 billion.
They just
And I
got
say,
there.
even if they did have $300, $400, $500 million liquid cash, that's still a lot of money. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
You can make a huge impact with that kind of money, but their money isn't as long as these other people. But if we don't support each other, we've been supporting Diddy and Jay-Z for years. When are they gonna get back to the black people? And I know, I'm sure, like I've heard of Jay-Z doing some things, but if you're a billionaire, you know what I mean? There should be no limit almost.
Yeah, I'm kind of, and I'd imagine your credit is up to par. I mean, I don't know. I think it still comes down to black folks, and we just still competing with each other. And I feel like Diddy and Jay-Z just got cool. I feel like they've been trying to one up each other for years. So
let's one up each other by giving back to the community.
Right.
Let's do that. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna plug myself, Diddy, Jay-Z. If you hear this, let's see who can donate the most to black nonprofits.
There you go. There you go. By the block. Ain't that,
Yeah.
ain't that the new phrase right now?
Yeah.
And it's wild right now. And then you flip around, and Kyrie let Kanye get him in trouble. Like it was weird to me. You saw what Kanye was going through, and then Kyrie goes and does what he did.
I want to say something about that because I feel like Kyrie Irving didn't even say anything. He posted a picture or a link to a video that people thought was anti-Semitic, but he never said anything.
I tell you what it is. Well, it was all about that little interview he gave, and the little refusal to apologize, and it was just he was real, nonchalant, about it, and that's really what it was.
Let me ask you a question.
That's really all it was.
So Judaism is a culture and a religion,
Yeah,
as well as a race. But is it? You know what I mean? You can be black and Jewish,
which is why they have the monopoly on this whole thing.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? Almost, it's like if we can claim this, we can claim that, and and you can convert and do that if you want. But I don't know if you'll get if you get those kind of benefits.
The thing that I hate though is why is it that if let's say Kanye and Kyrie said, I'm Jewish, I've converted to Judaism,
right, and
everything I'm saying is a critique of my own people.
Mm-hmm.
Is it anti-Semitic, or are these black Jews speaking about something that is now something they're a part of? And you know what I mean?
Well, no matter what, first of all, no matter what, you're going to get somebody on the other end to challenge you on it. But I get you that because if I convert over and now I am Jewish, I'm talking about myself and my people. Now what you're going to get is the older Jewish brass. I said, no, young man, you didn't do this. You didn't, you're Jewish on paper. You know what I mean? Which really doesn't give you the right to feel our pain and, to feel like you represent our pain and where we came from. I feel like that's the kind of backlash he would have gotten.
But who's to say Jewish on, what's the paper? Jewish on paper, what does that mean? Who determines the paper?
I mean, just convert it. I mean, meaning your grandmother, your great, we can't follow your family lineage and know that you're Jewish, but you can, you took this class, paid this money, did whatever, and you can convert over to Judaism.
But the problem with that is
married into the family.
Scripturally, I don't think that is correct, especially from a Christianity standpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the Old Testament, I'm not really sure what the Bible says about somebody being allowed to convert or become a part of Judaism, because there are instances where Jewish men in the Bible married a wife. For instance, Moses had a black wife. Moses' wife was from Sudan or Nubia.
One thing, I want to cut you off, but can we just understand that all those characters in the Bible are people of color?
Yes.
Can we say that?
Yes.
I think if everybody understood that and knew that, of course, everybody doesn't want to understand that and know that, but if we just kind of come to that understanding, I bet you things are going to run a lot smoother in this whole, right? In this whole battle debate, who's the original people, who's the first, if we all understand that those people in the Bible that we swear by and that we love their stories and that we read about, those are people of color. Those are brown-skinned people, right? And black, and then to take it a step further, black churches, pictures of black Jesus only. That's it, only. Why are we still with the Patrick Swayze Jesus? Why are we still doing that? And no disrespect to anybody, like at least in our churches, maybe we can get one day we can spread it out to white churches and everybody else, but at least with our church. The black Jesus. What are we doing? Right? So I read the hair of wool and the skin of bronze, and then I'm walking out the church house and I see who is that guy?
Right.
I think little simple, just base level stuff like that, I think can help us out a lot, man.
If you can see yourself in God, then you would carry yourself accordingly. Representation is important. And to bring this back full circle, that is why I try to get these young black men, when I get them suited and booted, I want them to visualize themselves as young professionals, as the next president, as the CEO, as the boss, as the director, as the whatever. You don't got to be in the streets. You can be whatever you want to be. When I saw Barack Obama for the first time, I remember being a kid and thinking to myself, black men like this don't exist no more. They gone. The Martin Luther Kings, Malcolm X's, Stokely Carmichaels, people like this are gone. And then Barack Obama came and changed my whole life. And I was like, I want to be like that. And ultimately, that's my goal, is to be a righteous black man, and for young black men to be like, I want to be like that.
It's funny you brought that up. That was my next question on my list here. when did that need to give back, to serve, kind of fill your heart? That was that day. What was that? 08?
So in
Barack Obama?
2008, when Barack Obama was elected, I was a freshman in high school, and I had just transferred from Oklahoma Centennial Middle School in the ghetto. I'm not sure if you're familiar, where it was where the old Eisenhower is, or where the old John Marshall was.
Mm-hmm.
And I transferred to Edmond Santa Fe, a predominantly white school. Right. And I did that because I had to get out of a situation because one of my friends, Tim Moreland, had just got shot, and I played football with him, and I wanted to move around and take my life in a new direction. And even today, in hindsight, I find that problematic because why do we have to leave our communities in order to find a better situation? Like, why can't we make our communities better?
Yeah.
Right. But I saw Barack Obama, and I remember thinking to myself, like, this is the new standard of what's achievable. It can be done, right? It can be done.
Yes, we can.
And then fast forward to 2013, I believe, in the murder of Trayvon Martin. And that was my call to action, if you will. Because not only was Trayvon murdered and then the murderer was acquitted, but the way Trayvon's name and image was ran through the mud always resonated with me, and I hate how they tried to make us young black men feel like thugs and gangsters. Trayvon's about my age. Mm-hmm. I think I might be a year older than Trayvon, or some months, but we're about the same age. And I just remember thinking to myself, if I die today, I ran track since I was 8 years old until I graduated college. Mm-hmm. I'm a high school All-American state champion. I'm a college national champion. All-American
from Santa Fe, you said?
Yes, sir.
Okay, no doubt.
In track and field and at Southern Nazarene University. And my social media has always been filled with, like, well, back then it was just sports and stuff. I knew that I was, like, I had colleges look at me and stuff, so I knew I had to carry myself a certain way because I didn't want a coach to pull up my Instagram and I'm drinking beers. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I've always known that. But I was thinking to myself, like, man, like, I'm sure if something crazy happened and I died, the media would take an image of me and try to paint me to a person I'm not trying to be,
mm-hmm.
right? Well, if I'm standing here, with my suit and tie on, standing next to some kids that I just gave a scholarship to, how are you going to turn this around? You can't turn that around. You know what I mean? I decided to create my own image and change my own narrative. And that's what this is about. It's really that call to action, I'll say, was two things: Barack Obama and Trayvon Martin. And then when Barack Obama said that Trayvon looked like he could be my son, or he said something along these lines, the media flamed him. Bro, Barack Obama is race baiting and blah, blah, blah. Every time something happens to a little white girl, the entire world loses their mind because every white man thinks that could be my daughter, And the people who are in power, who make decisions, get to stand up and fight for this white girl. And so who's fighting for black boys?
Yeah.
So that's it. That's the call to action.
Wow. Let's talk about representation, man. Barack Obama basically spawned Grand Gentleman. I mean, and unfortunately the death of Trayvon Martin. And then staying on that, I mean, you got all that positivity going. And then Trump jumps in office. We're going back to the kids that you mentor. Have you picked their brain? What do they feel about the state of where we're at right now? We talked about Kanye, Kyrie. What are the young folks that you're around? What are some of the things that you're hearing from them about those particular subjects? Do they even care?
They don't care. I'm primarily working. My kids now are high school boys, freshmen in high school, and these things aren't really on their radar yet. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I want to introduce real world topics and conversations to them, but they're so busy caught up trying to find themselves that Donald Trump, I mean, it's 2023. Trump lost the presidency 3 years ago. 3 years ago, the boys I'm working with were in 5th grade. You know what I mean? Like, that's right. But like, think about it. So like they're freshmen now. So 2022, they were in 8th grade. 21, they were in 7th grade. So in 20, they were in 6th grade. So really, like when this stuff was happening, they were too young. And this is how I know I'm old. I'm 29 now. I'll be 30 in October. And like time is different. Like the older you get, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, that's nothing. But when you're only 15, 5 years is a third of your life.
Right.
You know? So yeah, I mean, these things, they haven't really truly hit their radar yet. They don't understand how they're affected by them. So when we went to Hoover Middle School to do our tie day, I had my friend JB, who's a local rapper and activist.
I've had JB in there, yeah.
Good guy.
Yeah.
I had him come and do a portion over using wise words, specifically because I wanted to show these young men how Kanye, and to a much lesser extent, even Kyrie, you can kind of talk yourself into a bad situation.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's important, but overall, they're not super concerned about that. But I think the Kyrie situation was a good time for these young boys to learn a lesson. Like, these people who sign your checks can take everything away from you just as easy as you got it.
I mean, no matter how true what you're saying is, and the story around Kyrie is that he's trying to find himself, he's trying to find his truth and his own people and things like that, and that's fine, man. That is perfectly fine. Matter of fact, if you do that, you'll be a better person. I'm pretty sure of it. But you can't bite the hand that feeds you in the meantime if you're trying to live and put together a certain lifestyle. And one thing I always wanted Kyrie to understand is that he and his supporters would always combat him not willing to apologize and all that, and how the NBA kind of came down on him with that bullshit they wanted him to do. They would always combat it with his charity, how much money he's giving away to people, and he gave this family a certain amount of laptops, and he gave this women's shelter this amount of money or whatever. It's like, okay, that's cool, that's great, but if you want to continue to do that, you need to continue to make these checks over here, man.
Yeah.
If you want to continue to still be that financial beacon in someone's life, and you got to continue to be what you are over here on the basketball court, which means you have to play ball and you can't be suspended. And so it just goes hand in hand, man. This is America. This is a business. This thing runs on money, man. So you do have to walk that fine line, and like you say, find balance. You can be as real as you want to be. You can find out as much about yourself and your history as you want, but understand you still have responsibility over here. In the real corporate world, if you want your lifestyle to maintain at the level it's at.
The irony behind it all is, I will say, Kanye, his delivery was that of more so spewing hateful rhetoric, because Kanye is literally repeating alt-right Nazi talking points. Okay, even if there is a speck of truth in what Kanye's saying,
mm-hmm.
because it's so muddied with negative talking points that he literally is getting from Nazis, it's going to get lost in that.
And yeah, what was he talking about? And then he was talking about how George Floyd didn't die with the neck, and then they hit him with fentanyl on the low.
Right. And
because
he's been hanging out with Nazis.
Come on,
and that's why I hate when people compare the Kanye and Kyrie situations, because they're totally different.
Well, one thing I'll tell you, Kyrie, listen, you can't be quoting stuff from Alex Jones. I don't care what it is.
Kyrie didn't do that. That was Kanye who did that.
No, Kyrie reposted the book that Alex Jones reposted or something like that.
Alex Jones, so the book that Kyrie reposted was From Hebrews to Negroes.
Negroes, right.
Alex Jones didn't repost that book because Alex Jones doesn't care about a black agenda. Like, so that book is I will say this, historically speaking, I think the book is very inaccurate.
I didn't read it. My point is, anything coming out from Alex Jones, stay away from.
Agreed.
Stay away from.
But I just feel like the Kyrie situation was a public lynching. Like, they wanted to make an example of him.
And it was the timing of having this Kanye stuff going on at the same time.
Exactly.
And about the same subject.
Dave Chappelle, you got to listen to his monologue. So Saturday Night Live,
yeah.
Dave Chappelle.
Yeah, I saw it.
It's on. Okay. He said Kanye got in so much trouble that Kyrie got in trouble.
Yeah.
And that's a fact, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? Imagine this though. And you can, and I don't know how much this has been discussed or talked about or whatever. You can say you heard it here first. But here's an idea. What if Michael Jordan, Jay-Z, Diddy and Oprah got together and said, you know what? What if we started our own league?
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
What if we
Yeah.
started our own league? Because between those four people and throwing a couple more black billionaires that I might not be thinking of,
Mhm.
what if you said, you know what? We're gonna start our own league and we're gonna do it our way.
Whatever you say.
And all the best players will come play in this league. And let's say LeBron retires and he joins this pool too. Well, the argument is over because you got all the Jordan fans, the
It's a wrap.
LeBron fans right there. If they can build enough equity to pay players, who wouldn't want to come play in the league owned by Jordan? Who
Yeah.
wouldn't want to play in the league owned by LeBron? Who wouldn't want to play for these guys? If they're getting paid, now you have all the best talent. Because let's keep it real, the NBA is 78% black. If all this black talent is playing in a new league and they're stealing ratings from the NBA, because Luka won't be able to hold down the NBA by himself.
No.
You know what I mean? If all the best black players came together and started their own league, we would have all these billions and trillions of dollars floating around in the black community. Same thing with college sports, college football. I mean, if Alabama, Georgia, Auburn, USC, and I don't know, let's just say if 10 of these top teams was like, you know what, NCAA, we don't want to
Yeah.
deal with you no more. Same thing.
That's what they're thinking is, could happen here. Who knows, 5 years or so. But we'll see what happens. But
Politically speaking, black people, they tell us that we're only 15% of the U.S. population, right? I don't believe that. I think
they've been screaming that same number for a while now.
Right. You know what?
It has to go up.
Oklahoma, I think we're only 13, 14%. They say we're only 13, 14 population.
Mhm.
But if you live in Oklahoma, and if you in these streets like I am, you go to the north side, right? The north side of Oklahoma City, where I'm from. You
Right.
go to Camelot, black people. Chisholm Creek, black people. The Village, black people.
Mhm.
Western Village, black people. North Highlands, black people. The East Side, all black.
All
Spencer,
black.
all black. Midwest City, a lot of black people. The South Side, even a lot of black people, but we only 14%.
Yeah.
That don't even
Yeah.
sound right.
That 13% has been bounced around for a long time now.
I don't think
Long
it's accurate.
time.
But my point in saying that is that if we politically may not have enough power to do much except sway one party or the other's results. But and if you look at the NFL and NBA, where 70% of the players are black,
Mhm.
70% of the best talent is us. We have more power to leverage, and that's what I'm saying.
We need ownership, though.
Exactly.
We need those guys to, and the thing about, and it's different. Basketball would be a lot easier. Football is still a good old boy system. You got to be knighted in any industry. You got to be knighted. You got to be allowed to step in those rooms and throw that type of money on the table to own something. But
It's coming. Jay-Z and Diddy.
I mean, I think so. It's, you hear LeBron talking about what he wants to do.
Whatever you say.
I've heard it come from Jay-Z and Diddy, and Jay-Z has a little small percentage in the Nets, or he used to.
He used
or
to.
something like
he
that.
had to stop because of a conflict he had with Rock Nation Sports.
Yeah,
You can't own a sports agency and a sports team.
Right,
There's gonna be
right.
Some conflict.
right.
But with that being said,
But if you look at it, they almost kind of do. If you work in LeBron and Clutch, yeah. If you work in kind of, I'm sure there's a lot of Rock Nation and Clutch connections, and you wash my back, I'll wash yours. And if you notice, a lot of these players, half the team is a Clutch client
Right.
on the Lakers right now.
they're doing good.
And it was like that on the Cleveland Cavaliers when he was out in Cleveland. So, it's a lot of hand washing going on, man. And hopefully, if business is done the right way, someday we'll have 2 or 3 Bob Johnsons. You know what I mean? The old owner of the Charlotte Bobcats before Jordan took over. They changed the name. And let me commend you, man. The 30 and under crew out here in the streets are really making waves, man. Like you said, you were influenced by Barack Obama, and I think either you're influenced by Barack Obama or that 2013 or whenever his tenure was going on, and we had all the black killings in the streets by police officers. That speared a lot of positive upward movement by young black folks, young minorities, period. Young people, period. I'm not even going to say black, I'm not even going to say minorities, because the young white kids have joined this movement too. And I guess it's painful that it had to come from killings and a lot of hurtful incidences like that. But that is, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it with you. I saw it with my man Adam a long time ago. The 30 and under crew is kind of making waves out here, and they're really putting their money where their mouth is and getting out here making things happen, man.
Well, I feel like my generation, and when I say my generation, I'm loosely saying like anyone born between 88 and 95 or 6, to narrow down those millennials a little bit. We are very active on social media and we're very concerned.
Let me say, you guys are tired of the stories of we sat in there and we marched,
right?
We sang,
right?
And we endured. I think you guys are tired of those stories.
It's very surreal because my dad tells me stories about the dogs and the fire hydrants and how we couldn't sit at the certain places and go in. My grandfather was actually mixed. He's half white and half Native American.
Okay.
And he had to go into the store for my grandmother and my father and my aunt. Like they couldn't go in the store. So I mean, I'm hearing all these stories my whole life, and it's very surreal. I'll say this from 2016 to now, but especially from 2016 to 2020, you had this period where you feel like you're living in history. You watch the riots in Ferguson and the riots over George Floyd and the Trayvon Martin case and all these things.
All over the world, those riots.
All over the world, people were marching and saying Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
And I think that our little generation felt like our time is now to step up and have our voices heard. We're old enough to have an opinion, and we're intellectual enough to form some stable leadership and have a response.
Whatever you say.
And I think I don't know. I think one thing I want to touch on before we go, man, is I want to talk about the Black Lives Matter organization.
Okay. There's, a controversial organization. A lot of stories about money being missing and what's really being done with the money.
So the problem is that Black Lives Matter as a slogan for a movement is great because it's simple and it cuts straight to the point. We're not saying white lives don't matter. We're not saying Asian lives or whatever lives don't matter. We're simply saying that Black lives matter just as much as everyone else.
In case you forgot.
As a slogan. As an organization, they have been grossly irresponsible and negligent. And they've been taking in millions of dollars. I read, I think it's anywhere between $60 and $90 million that they've raised.
Yeah.
And we have protesters who were in jail for months. And the thing is that Black people need centralized leadership. And we haven't had that since the 60s. And all of our leaders were actively murdered by the FBI and CIA. The government has admitted to this. The files are released. You can look it up. They have literally went in to destabilize our movements since then.
J. Edgar Hoover.
The number one enemy or the number one threat to America is the Black man. J. Edgar Hoover said this, right?
Yeah.
So
they have whole meetings about this stuff.
COINTELPRO. Listen. What else? Leaving the FBI dumping crack cocaine into Black neighborhoods.
You listen, I know somebody. I know a couple people from Chicago, and the crack. We heard about the crack, but the guns, it was new to me. I know a couple people from Chicago. They said it wasn't shocking to see just random boxes, or maybe you have a laundry basket just sitting in the middle of the hood with a bunch of guns in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a video of a white supremacist kind of militia, ex-cop type of, whatever those guys are. And he admitted that, yeah, they would go around and do that. That was done purposely. That they would just put guns just in the middle of the street and just leave them out for kids to pick up and play with. And of course, what's going to happen if the wrong person or, big time gangster gets one.
I hate, like, just because you live in America, you have to understand that.
But my point is, there's evidence of all that stuff you're talking about.
Are we truly always the good guys? The FBI and CIA are literally trained to destabilize.
Yeah.
So there has to be winners and losers. That's how capitalism works.
Yeah.
And if you have to choose a community to destabilize, why wouldn't it be the black community? You know what I mean? And from their point of view, why wouldn't it be us? So I mean, I said that to say that it's very hard to create strong, centralized leadership in the black community now because it has been constantly destabilized. I'm not saying that the FBI or CIA had a hand in the murder of Tupac or Biggie. I think maybe Biggie, but that's just a conspiracy I'm throwing out there.
Really? Okay.
But what I'm saying is,
how much time we got?
Their reaction to it, because you had two people in the 90s who could literally speak to millions of black people, and they would listen, right? So like, why would you want to find justice for these people? You know? So now you get to a point to where Black Lives Matter, the people who started the organization stole the slogan. The slogan, the streets came up with the slogan.
Yeah.
Black people in the field came up with the slogan, Black Lives Matter.
Right.
People started an organization with that name. And then they haven't, can you tell me who their leader is?
Some woman. I mean, that's all I know. And that was the other thing about the organization, of how it's led by lesbians, and they have a different agenda. It's not even for black people, right? So I mean, is that true or false? I like to think that's false, but I don't know. But that's just how messy things can get once black folks try to get right about some things.
That I don't know about, but I do know this. I do know that they got millions of dollars, and once they got that money, they went out and bought themselves multi-million-dollar houses in California.
Right.
Now, here's the thing: as a director of a nonprofit, all the work that I put into Grand Gentlemen, if we got $100,000 donation tomorrow, I'm gonna pay myself in my squad with at least 20% of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But here's the other thing: you can get online and you can see where that money's going. You're gonna see the kids I'm giving scholarships to. You're gonna see me doing the back to school. You're gonna see all these new programs that I put in my budget, and I'm telling you, this is what we're doing. And the problem with it, don't feel like Black Lives Matter hasn't put $90 million worth of work back into the black community. Because let's be proactive. Where's the Black Lives Matter Scholarship Fund?
Okay.
Where's the Black Lives Matter Legal Fund?
I'm with it.
To help incarcerated black people. You know what I mean? Where's the Black Lives Matter fund for when black men are killed and they got kids? Who's supporting that family? Because the young homie Danny Howard, who went to Centennial, got killed on New Year's, and now he's got a 1-year-old. He's got a family. You know what I mean? If the police had shot him, what happens?
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you, man.
That's my problem is. And I'm a schmuck from Oklahoma City. I don't know anything, but I just named a few ways they could be using their money, and they're choosing not to do it. Or we haven't heard of it, and that's a problem too. Because I have a small 3,500 follower following. They have millions of followers. We should know what they're doing with the money.
We should.
There should be no question. And we should know who their leader is. And if the founders, and this is how lazy they are, because as the director and their board and everything of their nonprofit, if you say, hey, we don't want to be the face of Black Lives Matter, you should find a face to push your message. If you don't want to be the person, find the person. They don't care. It's like they don't want to be the face, but they don't want to give up the power of being the face. It's a really weird situation, and I'm very frustrated with it.
And in a way, black folks, that's just us again shooting ourselves in the foot. There's a group of people out here who feel like black people don't, quote unquote, need a leader. Right? Who's the white leader? Who's the Asian leader? Who's the Latino leader? Why do black people, quote unquote, need a leader?
Okay.
What do you say to that?
I have an answer to this.
Whatever you say.
In particular, the Hispanic and Asian communities have a sense of internal community within itself,
togetherness
to where they don't need a leader because they see themselves as the we.
Mm-hmm.
The Black community is a very individualistic community. I'm the star. I'm the guy. I'm this. And this is what I was talking about earlier, separating yourself, your ego, from what you're doing. You know what I mean? Don't say it's not the court, it's the Grand Gentleman Scholarship. Any Black man could be a Grand Gentleman. If I die tomorrow, I want one of the homies to come to keep this going. You know what I mean? And that's the kind of mindset that these other groups have. White people, and I want to, I'm not, I say this, but, take it with a grain of salt, is that a lot of white people see themselves as the primary. Like when you think of America or an American, a lot of people's first thought goes to a white person. And so white people feel like they have to defend something that they've built, and they rally around that. And Donald Trump was the perfect spokesperson for that, because I gotta hand it to him. I really gotta hand it to him because he a smooth cat. He came up, a rich white man told poor white people, "I'm your savior. I can help you."
Right.
Then he looked at the rich white people and said, "I'm just like you.
Right.
I don't want to get screwed over either." And they rallied around him
Yeah,
like
they
some
loved
idiots.
It. They loved it, man.
They ate it all up. and that's their leader, if you think about it.
I mean, right now, where we're at right now, yeah. I mean, listen, they'll climb the Capitol for this guy.
Right.
They broke into Nancy Pelosi's house.
Right.
Attacked her husband with a hammer.
Let's talk about it.
Like these are the type of people he's promoting. He's big upping. I can't stand this show that we have going on with the whole Capitol, January 6th committee Capitol case going on that's been going on for a year now.
If
what more audio, what more visual do you need?
Here's the problem. It's because the people who make the laws, they look at the people who they're supposed to be prosecuting and they see themselves in them.
Hey, I do that.
Exactly.
I feel exactly like he.
Exactly.
I think like he does.
But if Barack Obama had been the president, and the Nation of Islam or the Black Panther Party or Black Lives Matter had stormed the Capitol for any reason, come on now.
It's dead bodies out there, man.
So that's what I'm saying. So like the Black community, we need leadership. We need to stop worrying about what other groups are doing and focus on ourselves. We need leadership on small local levels, and we need national. We need more leadership. There's already a Black caucus in Washington. There's a Black caucus in Washington, but they're not doing anything. That's why nobody knows who's in it or who's. Kamala Harris was a part of Black caucus for decades, I believe. Like the Black caucus is a thing, but we need somebody there who's really going to stand up and fight for us. Why did a Stop Asian Hate bill get signed into law after months?
Easy.
If you look at the numbers, after Donald Trump got elected, the 16th of November to now, the number of hate crimes has risen exponentially in America. And the number of hate crimes against Black people has risen 330%, I believe. Is at least 300%, more than any other group. But we're the one group who never got any. We've had LGBTQ laws passed to protect them and laws passed to protect Asian people.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing for us. And I'm not saying that those groups didn't deserve any protection. But what I'm saying is you have to really look at it and ask yourself why.
What do you say to those who say, well, Barack Obama is the one who gave the Native American folks that big old chunk of land back and all that, and said in an interview, I can't just do things just for Black people. That's not what I'm here for.
Well,
what do you say about that?
I will say this. I will say that, let's say Barack Obama came out and said, I want to pass legislation specifically for Black people. I want to help my people out.
He didn't have to go that far, and it was like, we're not doing anything.
So the first 2 years,
shut down anything he wants to do.
Exactly. The first 2 years he was in office, the Democrats had control of the White House, the House, and the Senate. And then 2 years after his election, they lost control of the Senate. Or was it the Senate or the House?
I think it was the Senate.
So they lose control of the Senate. And after that, they said, what's his name? Mitch McConnell said, I don't care what Barack Obama's trying to do. We're going to be against it.
Yeah.
So my question, in the first 2 years of his presidency, he was trying to rebuild an economy that George Bush destroyed. So my question for y'all who say this is, my brothers and sisters in Christ, what could Barack Obama do? Yeah. Even if he now, granted, I'm not going to cape for him and say that he wanted to do this, that, and the third. But I'm saying, even if he wanted to, he couldn't.
Yeah.
because black people, well, I don't want to blame black people, but I'll say maybe young people, I don't know, we didn't get out and vote in the midterms. And so when they lost the midterms, he lost a lot of his power. And, I mean, like I said earlier, when Barack Obama came out and said, Trayvon Martin could have been my son. Did you see the backlash he got for that, just for saying that my son might have looked like this kid?
Come on, man. They was killing him for wearing the cream suit.
The cream suit. And this is and you're saying that he could have done what? Like what were you expecting him to do? He had faced he faced a lot of challenges either way. So
is Kamala doing enough, or Kamala, she doing enough for you?
Absolutely not.
I almost forget that she's even like I forget about her. Like literally. I forget that she's even in the White House.
I'll say this: the Joe Biden administration has been dumb, but they think they're being smart. Here's why, and I actually I gotta go after this.
Okay. Now this has been great, man. I didn't expect it to go this long, but this has been good talk, man.
Again, I once I get going,
please don't apologize, man.
So the Joe Biden administration, they didn't run a brilliant campaign. Their campaign was run on, hey, that other guy sucks.
You can't go with him, can you?
The other guy sucks. And the last 4 years have been miserable.
Yeah.
So let's try something else.
Yeah.
And once they won, they sat out the first 2 years.
And I'm going to be honest, that was good enough for me.
You know what?
I'm not going to lie.
I will admit.
That was good enough for me.
I wanted Trump up out of there so bad that I voted for Joe Biden, even though I don't like the guy.
Right.
But I will say this, they sat around twiddling their thumbs until just recently where they said, oh, hey, midterms are coming up. Let's see if we can do something about these student loans.
And let's let Brittany Griner out.
Yeah, let's help this chick out. Now, here's the thing. Joe Biden, man, I'm not going to say nothing about this man. You know what I'm saying? Because I have allies in the Oklahoma Democratic Party who help me with my community work. And when we talk about the Democratic Party as a whole, they're not doing a lot for black people. But my friends here locally who put a lot of work in on these campaigns, they helped me out. But I will say this, I'm not afraid to criticize these people when they're not doing enough. And they've been playing political games with our lives by waiting until midterms to actually be effective. And now they're saving all of their important legislation for the year that they get reelected, because they want that to be fresh on the voters' minds. That's a messed up game to play when we're talking about the black community specifically.
Man, listen, you're a smart guy. You're obviously fueled by your people, but you just kind of brought it up. The people that you work with, and I brought this up with JB. The people you work with, do you ever get worried, or are you kind of biting your tongue about certain social topics that you might not want to really be totally truthful about in order to keep Grand Gentlemen going, and in order to keep a certain grant or a certain relationship going? How do you balance that? Is that get kind of tricky sometimes?
I will say that we're
in Oklahoma.
That's the thing. As a nonprofit, you're not allowed to take a side, like politically. You know what I mean? Like Grand Gentlemen couldn't come out and say we support such and such for whatever. I can, but as an organization, we can't play sides like that. I was actually playing a very dangerous game by supporting brother Julius Jones last November. We definitely had strong support for him and still do. Free Julius Jones. But I mean, it's all politics. You have to pick and choose because funding is important. If I come out and say a certain thing about such and such, if that's how I feel, I'm speaking my mind, that's great. But what if I lose a $40,000 grant?
Yeah.
Because I said something a little crazy. So I have to.
Oh man, I gotta go back and cut this stuff. I don't want to be the reason, man. Come on now, Grand Gentlemen is a great thing going right here. I don't want to have this be the issue.
I will say though, I will never not stand in my truth. And again, I'm talking about the Democratic Party. Everything is an honest critique of what we need to be doing. I'm gonna support the least racist party forever. You know what I'm saying? And I'll make it clear what I'm saying here is not necessarily a reflection of the organization. These are a reflection of my personal thoughts. But I think that they need to do better. If you claim to be the party for black people, then help black people.
Simple as that. And soon you're going to incorporate a scholarship for a Latino student also, right?
We already have Jesus Mori won our Men of the Year award last year,
No doubt.
and we have a scholarship for young women too called the Leading Lady Scholarship. So I've given, let me see, last year Aaron Thompson and Christian and Alicia Gregory this year. So
Okay.
we've given out 3 scholarships to 3 women already.
No doubt, man. My man's all over the place. Corey Akers of Grand Gentleman and Mad Dream Cinema. There you go. So hey, man, you might see my man at Dead Center collection at one of these events. Corey, it's been a pleasure, man. Like I said, I didn't expect it to go on this long, but hey, I think that was a good thing, right?
Maybe you might have a 2-parter. Who knows?
Oh no, may have a 2-parter. There you go. There you go. You know, tell you the truth, because some of these sites don't like you loading up those super big long podcast episode. But
Whatever you
listen,
say.
it doesn't matter. Part 1, part 2, part 3, it's all game and it's all knowledge from this guy Corey Akers, man. Deep fella. I didn't know you were that deep into politics like that. Religion, all aspects of life, man. My man seems to be pretty up for it.
You know, a saying one of my mentors told me is a gentleman should be well read, well spoken, well dressed, and well traveled. So
there you go. There you go. I think my man is off to a hell of a start right there. Go back and scroll through the social media. You'll see the R&B group picture with him, Adam Francisco, Super Swag. I like to call him. Who are some of the guys associated with Grand Gentleman?
My brother Daquan Cooper, my brother Sterling Abernathy, D. Simmons.
When it's time to get the
Tom
promo
Long,
pictures going.
Who my boy Nico comes to help. GQ, Sauce
No doubt.
Up. A whole lot of guys.
No doubt, man. Shout out to all those dudes. Shout out to you, Corey Akers. It's literally the beginning of 2023. What's the next step? What's Corey Akers and Grand Gentleman working on right now?
Right now, I'm perfecting my custom suiting business aspect of Grand Gentleman. I can make custom suits. I just did a wedding. I just made a few for myself. I made them for all the scholarship members. And now I'm making them open to the public. If you get a custom suit from me, then a portion of your proceeds will go back to the Grand Gentleman Scholarship Foundation. So you're going to be helping the Black community. You're going to be helping put Black people in college. I want to really get started with our digital magazine. So I'm looking for writers, Black people, Black men in the community who want to write about social commentary going on within the Black community. What else? As always, scholarship. We're always looking for people to apply for our scholarship, and we're always looking for people who want to donate. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. If you donate to us, I can give you I can give you a tax receipt to help you out on your taxes, and you can claim that. So we're hitting 3 areas. I want to really speak to the Black community through our blog on our website. I'm making clothes now and starting a brand, and those profits go back to the foundation. And as a nonprofit, we just out here trying to change.
Couldn't say it better, man. That's Corey Akers right there. Grand Gentleman Extraordinaire.
Grand Gentleman
Incorporated. There you go, man. Can't say enough about the movement, and blessings to you, man. Let's continue to do this. And hey, man, maybe we can do another one at your next venture.
I appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
No doubt. Corey Akers, Grand Gentleman, folks. Learn about it, huh?
I don't think it's white folks. I think it's Negroes. I do not think this is white folks. It could be. It could be white folks. But I think it's Negro. I think a Negro did this.
Thing about this younger generation, they have the information, right? Because it's at their fingertips, right? And they are bold, right? Because they believe they have more information than us at that time. Mm-hmm. And in some ways they do, but information without understanding is nothing, right? Because on the cigarette box it has this can kill you, and people still smoke. So it's not just information. You gotta be understanding of information and who it's coming from.
Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Whatever you say.